Well, hello, welcome again to a read through of the Homeric Hymn to Apollo, and I got up to line 294, and we saw in the previous section that Apollo had been talked out of building his temple near the stream of Telphusa, and he's moved elsewhere now to Crissa, and we had the previous paragraph was just a repeat of lines 247 to 253, and we get another slight repeat here in these next two lines. So it's hos apon diethekes themalia phoebos Apollon. So thus speaking, Phoebus Apollo laid down the foundations, which were broad and very long, and then we get this dianekes. It's an adverb, of course, here, neuter of the adjective used as an adverb. Can mean continuously, or perhaps something like throughout. So broad and very macro, very big throughout. Arte, but in a change of subject here, we have Trophonius and Agamedes. Now, later legend tells of four temples, the last being built by these people, Trophonius and Agamedes. These were sort of archetypal architects. Their temple was destroyed by fire in 548 BC, the commentator tells us. But Trophonius and Agamedes, the sons of Erginus, a very loaded name, they made ep autois, this is the autois referring back to the Themalia, perhaps on these things, on these foundations, they made a lainon, a stone udon. This is a sort of threshold or entrance way, perhaps. And they are dear to the immortal gods. Now, there's a bit of an issue here. There are problems with these lines. Richardson solves these, or says that one can solve the problems here. He outlines what the issues are. I'll leave you to read Richardson on this, but what he does is he takes this line here and moves it down into here and removes the period here. So it's got a slightly different text. I'll follow what Richardson does here. So these are dear to the immortal gods, and so they make this stone threshold to be oidinon, so to be continually. This is like anai, this infinitive from the verb to be continually a oidimon, an object of song, literally by their stone, or with their well-hewn stones. Again, there's problems here with the katistoisin. If you read that, it must mean something like well-hewn or well-made, or something. It's connected with founded, with solidly put down, perhaps something like that. Allen, in his edition, reads kanistoisi, meaning scratched, and hence polished. So he takes this as with polished stones. And there are other variant readings as well. Some write xestoisin, polished here again. There's tuktoisin. There's various different readings here. I leave you to consult the commentaries on this. So just quickly to go back over this bit here. But Trophonius and Agamedes made a stone threshold. These were the sons of Erginus, and they are dear to the immortal gods. And they made them to be always an object of song by their, well, what will I say here, by their polished stones. And then we have to come back and do this line here, amphidoneon. Now the enasan is a Homeric form. It's connected with nio, to dwell. You will see this one in Homer. It's an irregular aorist here from nio, meaning they dwelt or they settled. The festos, this is the, well, it's almost unspeakable. Not even the gods cannot describe is the sort of sense of this one. So it's something like the unutterable race of men dwelt around the temple. So that Richardson takes this as a separate sentence here. So the unutterable or the indescribable race of men dwelt around the naon, around the temple. So lots of issues with this last little section here. Now lines 300 to onwards, in fact really from this point onwards, which deals up to 355, it deals with this episode of Typhon, or Typhon as it's written here. It has been suspected by many commentators as being foreign to the context and maybe a sort of later addition. Again, I'll leave the commentators to discuss this. The Typhon was this 100-headed monster that was defeated by Zeus. There are various spellings of the name. You can look it up on Google and see various, you can get lots of pictures. The ancients drew pictures of Typhon with his various heads and things. So I'll leave you to do that. So just to come back to Ankikrane, Kaliroos. Got to supply the verb to be here, I think. So Anku is really adverbial here, and nearby there is, understood, the fair flowing, beautifully flowing stream where, and now we have to come to the next line here, the Lord, the son of Zeus, killed Catanian, with, of course, there's lots of epsilons, unaugmented aorists in Homer and in this poem. He killed Drakinon, a dragon or a serpent. Apokrateroio bioio, genitives of course. Literally from his strong bow, perhaps by means of, but it's often odd use of apo here. Be careful with this word here. Bios with the accent on the iota, I think means life, and bios with the accent on the last syllable means a bow, as in like a bow and arrow. I think it also can be used of a rainbow as well. But here, so the Lord, the son of Zeus, killed a dragon from or by means of his strong bow. And then we get further descriptions of this Drakinon. It's Tsar Trephia. Now, Tsar as a prefix in Homeric Greek is really short for deer, meaning in the sense of thoroughly, and the word here means, and then you can get you see the trepho root here, so it means literally very well fed, hence bloated or fat. This word does occur in Homer a couple of times, but otherwise it's quite rare. So this dragon is generally supposed to represent an earlier Pythian cult that was dispossessed by Apollo. Again, commentators will have more to say on that. So in opposition to this Drakinon, which is feminine, this is a two-termination neuter adjective, two-termination adjective, third declension I should say. It's going to be feminine really. So well-fed or perhaps bloated, a great bloated thing. And then a wild terrace. Terrace can mean a portent, but it also can mean a sort of monster. So a wild creature, a wild monster. Hey, again going back to this Drakinon, who, desken, this is an iterative from erdo, so who used to do many evil things, and takes a double accusative, to men. So it used to do many evil things to men, epikthoni, upon the earth. And we get pola men and pola de. We have to supply a bit from the previous bit. So many evil things, we've got to supply a kaka here. Many evil things on the one hand to them, that is to anthropos. So we did many evil things to them and many evil things to the mela ten alpod. This is the thin-footed male sheep. Epe, since, pele, well, from pello or pelomai, pello. It's often used simply like the verb to be, since she was a pema daphoinon, literally a bloody affliction, a bloody pain. Okay, so this is all describing this drakinon. So she used to do many evil things to men, many evil things to them, and many evil things to the thin-footed sheep, since she was a bloody affliction or bloody pain, literally. Kai pote dexamene chrysothronu etrefen heras. And at that, and then, at that time, perhaps, or the potty is quite vague here. Now this is a feminine participle, and this is agreeing back with this drakinon up here. So this serpent, this she-dragon, having received, and now we need an object to that, and I've got to go to the next line. So she having received a terrible and galleon, or something like fierce or horrible, Typhon. This is Typhon. So she having received the fearsome and terrible Typhon from, going back to the previous line, this is like, it's a genitive, but it's like an ablatival genitive, I think. So from golden-throned Hera, she reared it. And she reared it, understand, as a pema, brotoisin. She reared it as a pain for mortal men, for mortals. Typhon, whom once, and that's the up here. So who once, having received this Typhon from Hera, the Typhon whom once Hera being bore. It's an imperfect here, was giving birth to, but probably just bore, having become angry with the father's use. Hanek, when then the son of Kronos bore or begat Erikudia Athene. So this is Erikudia, something like glorious. It's again very Homeric. Very glorious Athena. Eri tends to strengthen things, so glorious, very glorious Athena. So he bore her en Coruphe, and there's variant readings here. One variant is ek Coruphes, literally from his top of his head. The Coruphe is the crown of your head. Comes in later Greek to also mean the summit of a mountain, but here it's just the top of his head. And of course, it's referring back to the myth that Athena was born without a woman, without a woman being involved, and that she came from the head of Zeus. It's the Greek as it's got it here is en Coruphe in the text, so it's literally in his head. So he begat glorious Athena in his head, and she, that is Lady Hera, Ipsa, forthwith, Kolosata, she became angry, and Ape, she said, she spoke among the immortal gods, those who were gathered together. Agromenoisi is a apocryphated participle here. It's from agero, to gather. And it's just a shortened form from that verb. It's a participle here from agero. So she spoke, and she spoke among all of the immortals who were gathered together. And this is what she says. Kekluti, probably a reduplicated aorist imperative here. It's not I don't think it's a perfect imperative, which do exist, but they're very rare. I think it's a reduplicated aorist here. So hear mu for mu, hear me, all gods and all goddesses. Interesting word. It's fairly rare. It is Homeric. You normally get the a for goddess, but theine does occur in Homer, generally only in this phrase. So hear me, all gods and all goddesses. So hear from me, really, how the Nephileg Gereta Zeus, this is, despite the ending, this is nominative. Again, it's very common in Homer. The cloud-gathering Zeus, Protos first, in other words, he did it before I did, he begins to dishonor me. So here how cloud-gathering Zeus, first of all, it's nominative agreeing with Zeus. He was the first one, so he first of all begins to dishonor me. Since, or perhaps almost after, so since he has made me to be his alakos, his wife, Kedna Adwian, literally knowing Kedna, useful things, dutiful things. So you can take both of these together and just say dutiful, who made me his dutiful wife, his wife who knows how to do the right things. And now, Nosfin emoya for emu, apart from me, Nosfin takes genitive, he has given birth to Eteke from Tikto, grey-eyed Athena, who, Metaprepa, is preeminent among all of the blessed immortals. Ater, but, now, the hot ge, indeed, now the hot is referring back to what's the aedenos is, yeah, that's a word means fairly rare. It means weak or infirm. And it's nominative, so it's agreeing with the next line here. So, but he, my son Hephaestus, was born apedanos, something like weak or infirm, among all the gods. And his riknos, literally, this word occurs first here in Greek. It means shriveled or withered. Podas, accusative of respect, with respect to his feet. So we're having the story here is of Hephaestus, who of course is the lame god. And in fact, this whole story she's about to tell about him being expelled from heaven and so on, and then brought back again by, I think Thetis is going to save him. You'll find this all told in much more detail in Iliad 18, 395 following, if you wanted to see more on the story. So she's cranky because Zeus has given birth to Athena without her, and Athena is preeminent among all the goddesses, but her son, Hephaestus, is apedanos. He's weak and infirm, and he's riknos podas. He's withered or shriveled in respect to his feet. Now you'll see there's a gap here. The editor's left a gap. There's a suspected lacuna here. One suggestion is that you put a full stop at the end of aute, and then just continue on reading. It's a little bit of a rough change of subject here because Hephaestus is the subject of the first bit, but there is a relative pronoun and it changes to her, and then she's the subject of the next bit. Anyway, you can have a look at the commentaries on this. Some people think that the fact that she's so angry about this, that this explains the abruptness of the lines here. Anyway, you can have a look at the commentaries on this one. I'm just reading it through. So, but he, in fact, my son Hephaestus, was born infirm among all the gods, and withered with respect to his feet. Hephaestus, whom aute I myself etekon gave birth to. So it's tekon for etekon from tikto. If we put a full stop here and then we just read on to the next sentence, then it seems to me to make reasonable sense. Rips is from ripto, so it's eripsa. There's an alpha elided here. From ripto, I hurled. So I hurled, having taken him anakersin in my hands. Again, funny use of ana here plus dative. So having grabbed hold of him, this is from Hyrio, having taken him in my hands, I hurled him, and I threw him into the broad sea, from Embalo. So she's very angry and she throws him into the sea. Interesting in terms of the practices of the period. Often children who were born deformed were often exposed and just left to die. We get an interesting kind of divine version of this where she throws him into the sea, but he manages to get saved, much as of course Oedipus does when he gets exposed. Alahe neos thugate Thetis. For Thetis, the daughter of Nereus, she of the silver ankles, silver feet, silver ankled, Agorapesga. I'm not quite sure exactly what that means here. Perhaps she's got some kind of silver adornment on her feet. She, Dexata, from Decamai, she received, and then the he is for auton. It's the object of Dexata. She received him, and she comisen from comisdo, she conveyed him among. Now here we get that personal adjective, her sisters. So that personal, it's a hos, but it's used as a personal adjective, very Homeric. So among her sisters. And very sarcastic line, hos ophel allo dioisi charisas there, that's thy macarisen. Would that, and then it takes an infinitive, she had done some other favour to the blessed gods. So would that she'd done some other favourable service to the blessed gods. Very sarcastic line here. She's quite worked up. And then sketlia poi kilometer. This is a vocative here, meaning trickster. Sketlia, and she's addressing here, she's yelling here at Zeus. So you wretched trickster, what other thing now will you devise? So you've managed to have a child without me. What other thing will you devise now? Question. Pose etles hoios tekein. So, how did you dare, oios alone by yourself, how did you dare to give birth to grey-eyed Athena? Uk an ego tekomein, this is a question with an, so it's something like would not I have given birth, or given her birth, or something like should not I have given her birth? And nevertheless, so it's almost despite the fact that Aya is the imperfect, first person singular imperfect from Amy. So it's sort of despite the fact that I was called yours, that is your wife, among the immortals who hold broad heaven. Prasdio, often used in Homer in the sense of beware. So it's sort of take thought, well, it's to do with speaking, but it's sort of I think it means beware here. Beware now, lest I will devise some evil thing opiso afterwards. So beware lest I devise some evil thing hereafter. Kai non mentoi ego takesamai. So, but now I will contrive, I will indeed contrive, I think the toi perhaps is indeed, it's enclitic, which is why the accent's here. So now it's I myself will indeed contrive as to how genetai there might be my child, in other words, there might be a child for me, or perhaps or how my child might be born, might be better there. Now I will contrive how my child might be born, who might be preeminent among all the immortal gods, picking up what we said before about Athena. We get ute and then an ude, so neither bringing shame to your sacred bed, uti emon autes, emon autes for em autes. You often get this in Homer as well. So not bringing shame upon your holy bed, nor mine, nor now polesamai, polio is to roam around, so it's literally, nor shall I roam into bed toy for you. So in other words, I won't, nor will I come to your bed, but aposeo for Sue, but te lothen, far away from you, so being far away from you, I should say, I will keep company for metami with the blessed gods. So she's planning to do something here, and we'll have to find out what that is in the next recording.